a Swedish company, disability company by the name Atropa Care. I sued them in Sweden because I worked for that company in ending of February, beginning of March 2022. When I worked for the company, I didn't get paid. When I asked for my salary, the boss of the company by the name David told me that he's on vacation. I sued David to the Södertäljes court in Stockholm here. So the Södertäljes court told me that I have to pay David for harassment because I asked for my salary. So I decided to file a complaint to the seventeenth. That's another court here in Sweden, court. Seventeenth court told me that because it's a work issue thing, they're going to send me to arbetsdomstolen. Arbetsdomstolen in Sweden is the labor court in Sweden. I got a letter from them. I think it was ending of April 2023. Yes, I got a letter from them. I think it was on the 24th, 25th of this April 2023. I got a letter. They said they are dropping the case because the reason why I decided to document this whole issue with that, my whole issue is because, let me tell you something. Hey guys, welcome to Analysis with Janet. Here we talk about everything. Feel free to share your thoughts, your opinion in whatever thing you're talking about, but always remember to be polite. So guys, I want to talk about something that I started talking about in February. So those of you that have not watched my other video, I posted a video in February where I said that a Swedish company, disability company by the name Atropa Care, I sued them in Sweden because I worked for that company in ending of February, beginning of March 2022. When I worked for the company, I didn't get paid. When I asked for my salary, the boss of the company by the name David told me that he's on vacation. And I'm going to share my text with what my conversation I had with David, because most of the time we're texting. And David told me that he's going to pay me when he gets back from vacation. Then I said to David, I said, you cannot pay me at that time because I also have a life and I have other things I have to do. As I had the conversation with David and we're going on back and forth, eventually I didn't get my salary. I sued David to the Södertäljes court in Stockholm here. I filed a complaint to the Södertäljes court. When I sued David to pay my salary and the inconveniences that he put me through during the time I didn't get my salary, and for racism, because the way he spoke to me, which I'm going to pause the conversation, he spoke to me very rude. When I sued David in the Södertäljes court, we had a hearing around November, beginning of November 2022. We had a hearing, and the hearing, it was because we had 2 hearings. That was the first hearing. In the first hearing, after the first hearing, they postponed the case because they said we couldn't come to a compromise. So we had another second hearing. The second hearing was on the 16th of January 2023, and that second hearing again, they told me that they're going to come with a final decision. So after the second hearing, around the 22nd of February 2023, I got a letter from the Södertäljes court saying that I have harassed David, so I should pay David, the boss of Atropa Care, disability company in Sweden. I should pay him 37,000 Swedish crowns for harassing him. And then I looked at the whole thing, I was baffled. What kind of harassment did I do to David? Because I texted David, which I will post the text. You can read the text yourselves. You guys can read the text and ask me what is harassment. I asked the boss of a company that when am I getting my salary, and he tells me that he's going to pay me when he comes up from vacation. And the only time I got my salary was, I think it was beginning of, maybe middle of July 2022. I worked for a company in ending of February, beginning of March 2022. I get paid in middle of July 2022, and when they paid me was when I had taken them to court, where I was suing them for my salary and inconvenience. They only paid for my salary, and I told them that they're also going to pay me for the inconvenience, and I'm also suing them for the way David spoke to me. He was rude the whole time, because when I asked for my salary, David did not show any sign of, like, as a boss of a company, like, I'm going to check into it, why you haven't gotten your salary, what happened to why. No, he was more of like arrogant and rude. And even in the conversation, I even told David that I'm going to file a police report to the police saying that his company is not paying me, and his company is promoting a black job where blacks are working and they're not paying blacks. And you know what David said to me? In the conversation, he wrote this, you're dead. And what that means in English is that I should do it. I should go and file a complaint to the Swedish police, which I did. And that was a complaint that I took to go to the court. So the Södertäljes court told me that I have to pay David for harassment because I asked for my salary. So I decided to file a complaint to the seventeenth. That's another court here in Sweden. So I filed a complaint to seventeenth court. Seventeenth court told me that because it's a work issue thing, they're going to send me to arbetsdomstolen. Arbetsdomstolen in Sweden is the labor court in Sweden. So they took my complaint, they sent it to arbetsdomstolen. Arbetsdomstolen being the labor court in Sweden. The labor courts in Sweden I got a letter from them. I think it was ending of April 2023. Yes, I got a letter from them. I think it was on the 24th, 25th of this April 2023. I got a letter. They said they are dropping the case because there is no evidence to back up that David, me, my complaint against David. And then I asked them that, what evidence do they need? Because in the conversation I had with David, David admitted that I worked for his company. In the same conversation I asked David, David told me that he was going to pay my salary. David never paid my salary. As a labor court, if a worker comes to you and say that they are filing a complaint against a company where the company has admitted that they have worked, that their client has worked for them, and that client has not gotten paid, is it not your job to investigate and help that client? No, according to the Swedish labor code here in Sweden, they dropped my case. And you know what the court said to me when they dropped my case? They told me that in Sweden, when they drop your case, they don't have to give you an explanation. They can drop your case because they don't see any issue with the case. And the reason why I decided to document this whole issue with that, my whole issue, is because, let me tell you something. I have heard stories like this a lot in Sweden, where a lot of black people work for Swedish companies here in Sweden. They don't get paid. And when they file a complaint to the high courts or to the courts or to the labor courts in Sweden, their cases get dropped. And in most instances, not only do they drop your case, but they tell you to pay the bosses or the company for harassment. Like right now, I have to pay Atropa Care for harassment. So I'm supposed to pay Atropa Care 37,000 Swedish crowns for harassing the boss, which is David, because I asked for my salary. And what I want to say is that I'm still going to update you about this case, because now I'm going to file a complaint to the Högsta domstolen, which is the high court here in Sweden. And like I said, the whole issue with this case is not even about the money. What it's all about is that I want to take people on a journey to show you how toxic the Swedish work market is, to show you how abuse of black people in the Swedish work market is being legalized by the Swedish system. Like I said, the case is not, for me, it's not about the money. It's not about the money, because I'm still living. Since they didn't pay, after the incident, I've been living, I've been doing my things, I've been going about my day. But what I want is that I've decided that I'm not going to be quiet about it, because how many black people have to sit quietly and watch companies harass them, watch companies deny to pay their salaries, and when they want to speak up, the Swedish courts start going around and telling them to pay those companies because they're harassing the companies. You don't harass a company when you ask that company to pay your salary. Every human being that has worked for another human being deserves to get paid. If a human being is working for another human being and is not getting paid, that is called enslavement. So that means, according to the Swedish courts in Sweden, black people should still continue being slaves, because I'm a black person. If I work for a white company and the company doesn't pay me, I automatically call that slavery, because that is what slavery was all about. So I am saying that Sweden is helping to promote it. And who are the people promoting the Swedish courts? You are promoting the idea that white companies, Swedish companies should employ black people and don't pay these black people. Because when you ask me to pay a company, because I asked the company to pay my salary, you ask me to pay the boss of that company, that I harass the boss of that company. That means indirectly, Sweden, you're telling the whole world that blacks should still work as slaves. And that is why I decided to take my story out there. That is why I decided to keep following up my case. I've always said that systemic racism is the most dominant racism here in Sweden. And what is systemic racism? Systemic racism is when it's a system that is encouraging the people to be racist. Systemic racism is when it's a system that is covering the racist. Systemic racism is when it's a system that is empowering the racist. And this case, right now that I'm making, the work market case, my case with the Swedish company, you have seen that instead you have the court promoting this company. Atropa Care is a Swedish disability company. How many black people who work for that company are you Swedish courts? You're going to keep promoting this company, or telling these black people when they complain that their salaries are not being paid, that they should pay the boss of that company for harassment. And then you come back and tell the whole world, Sweden, that you're a humanitarian country. What kind of humanity is that? No, we should really ask Sweden, what kind of humanitarianism do you Swedish people practice? The kind of humanitarianism where you promote systemic racism, where you make your system so comfortable where racists can take it, abusive people can take it to attack back their victims and get away with it, and even ask their victims to pay them if the victims want to complain. Because like I said, this case, I'm going to pursue the case till the end. I don't even care about the money, but I want to go take people on this journey, because this journey is a very, very clear, good example of how you see how open the Swedish system has been to abuse, how you see how open the Swedish system makes it comfortable for people to use its system to harass black people. And so guys, when I get a decision from the High Court in Sweden, which is Högsta domstolen, I will come back and I'll make a video about the decision. But for now, that's what has happened, and I'm going to update you guys in the future about what the High Court in Sweden is going to say about my case. And so guys, thank you all for watching. I hope to see you guys again in my next video. Bye guys.